YouTube, it's CryptoOneStop coming to you guys from the Crypto Cave. Today I'm going to try to finish off this series that I started. We're going to try to finish the review on Bitrue and Nexo. But before I do that, I wanted to point out a couple of things from my previous video. I mentioned that on Celsius, you could, get around not getting compound interest by removing all your funds off and then depositing them back on to Celsius. Because the way Celsius works is that when you deposit, let's say 1 Bitcoin, you're only going to make interest on that 1 Bitcoin. The interest that you accumulate does not compound. So if you have 1 Bitcoin and you accumulate any interest, all the interest that you accumulate will not earn you any interest. So the way I got around that was by removing all my funds off the account and then redepositing them, because when you redeposit, basically the entire balance now is eligible to earn interest. So Celsius caught on to people doing that, and if you look here, CW Val actually provides us with a really valuable update because apparently he was following this strategy and Celsius has found a way to block people from doing this. So if you can read here, this strategy of withdrawing and redepositing, it's no longer working. So coming back to Bitrue, I've been dabbling with this platform for the last couple months, and the biggest appeal at that time was the fact that they supported a large variety of alt tokens, and also the rate was very competitive. If you look at the rate for, let's say, Bitcoin, Ethereum, relative to its peers, it's pretty high. And if you look at the rate for the USD stablecoin, it's 10.3%. Now, they've extended this promotion. Typically, it's around 7.3%. For a limited time, they raised it 10.3 for USDT, and then BTR, they raised that to 15%. BTR, by the way, is the native token to the platform, just like Binance Coin is to the Binance platform. So because it was very popular, and also as I mentioned in a previous video, Celsius increased their rate for USD stablecoin to 9.25%. In my view, part of the reason why they extended this was because they wanted to remain competitive to their peers. And they do with the 10.3 because to my knowledge, that's the highest rate in the market. And again, I wanted to reiterate that the normal rate is 7.3% for USDT, and they're only doing this as a promotion. So this may not last for a very long time. But to be honest, these rates in the market across all the platforms are in continuous flux because on one hand, supply and demand economics are playing a role in what the rates are. Another element is the competitiveness. So they're always trying to raise their rates so they can get a larger share of the market. So just make sure to keep that in mind when you're deciding where to lend out your stablecoins. Another reason to like the platform is that you have an exchange and you have an option to buy additional cryptos with your credit card. So it's sort of like a one-stop shop sort of deal. They don't have any sort of method to spend your crypto like they do on crypto.com, but at least with this platform, you can actually, have all the exchange features like buy and sell order limits. And on top of that, you can lend your crypto out while you're not trading. I think this platform would be ideal for individuals who are traders. Obviously, there's better exchanges to use out there, but at least with this exchange, when you're not trading, you can actually lend out your crypto assets or your USD stablecoin and earn interest while you're waiting for the next trade. Aside from the many pluses for the exchange, one of the downsides is that they're only willing to take a finite amount of tokens, and there's 2 periods in the day. For example, in the West, here in the Pacific, at 7 a.m. and 7 p.m., they open up the loans, and they're only going to take a finite amount of tokens. For example, with VET, they're only taking about 170,000 more tokens, after which you have to wait until the next open period, which will be 7 a.m. for me. Since this works on a first-come, first-served basis, if I'm not quick enough, my tokens won't be lent out. This happened when I was trying to lend out my XRP, which tends to get sold out pretty quickly. It took me about 3 days before I was able to successfully lend them out. And I would wait, I would set my alarm a minute before the opening, and I still wouldn't be able to successfully lend out my tokens. But you can see here the rates on some of these tokens, they're really high compared to the peers. So in a sense, it's sort of worth it. It's sort of worth, the wait to get in line and get these rates, because once you're locked in indefinitely until you decide to remove your tokens and no longer lend them. So this is different from, Blockfi, Celsius, and crypto.com, because on those platforms you can actually deposit at any time and those tokens will immediately, start earning interest. Another benefit to lending out with Bitrue is that tokens like VET, which give you staking rewards, VET currently pays out in VTHOR. So the VET I have here, even though they're being lent out, I'm still earning VTHOR. So the VET is earning more VET, and all the new additional VET and the principal VET is earning VTHOR. Now in the future, if they enable lending with VTHOR, that's going to take the multiplying effect to a whole new level, because, again, I mentioned that VET is earning interest in VET, and all the VET that you have is earning more VTHOR. And then if you lend out VTHOR, earning you additional VTHOR, the gains in a lifetime, assuming that VET remains at the same price for the next 10 years, a small amount today will go a long way. But let's say to sweeten the deal, VET also appreciates in price and is here for the next 10 years. You could just imagine how much money you could potentially earn. Again, this is not investment advice, but I'm just outlining scenarios where you could actually leverage the power of compound interest and maximize your gains. And Bitrue makes it very easy for you to follow the multiplying effect. For example, the total value of my digital assets is approximately $4,500, and I'm earning about $1.28. If the price of the mixed basket of cryptocurrencies that I have go up by a magnitude of 10, so will the interest that I earn. So if my cryptos are now worth $45,000, I'll be making $12.80 daily. Lending with platforms like this made me think back to 2017 when I had bought Binance token. I had bought roughly around 10,000 at a cost basis of $1,000. And if I had held onto those tokens instead of prematurely selling them, I sold them around 50 cents. Most of them, at least. I kept a couple hundred that I have today. But I was thinking that if I had kept all of them, those 10,000 tokens would have been worth $200,000 today, and I would have been making $16,000 a year in passive income if I lent them out on crypto.com at a rate of 8%. Now, with that example, I'm not trying to entice you guys to invest. What I'm trying to illustrate is that, platforms like Bitrue, Celsius, and crypto.com could put people on a fast track to achieve financial sovereignty and freedom. Given that AI is poised to disintermediate a lot of the workforce, I think it would be healthy for individuals to look for alternative investments that could potentially replace some, if not all, of their income. Before I move on to Nexo, I wanted to say one more thing about Bitrue, and that's the bonus structure. It's very similar to Celsius. For example, to get 10%, which is above the base of 7.3%, if you wanted to get 10% interest instead of 7.3, let's say you had $10,000 worth of tokens with Bitrue. If $2,000 or more of that value is held in the Bitrue token, then you'll be eligible to earn a 10% interest on all the alts that you lend. Now be careful, because let's say, for example, with my account, I have over 25% of the worth allocated to Bitrue. So I could easily get that 10%. The reason I don't is because I'm lending out that Bitrue. So the Bitrue that you're lending out doesn't count towards the 20%. So basically, you can't lend out the Bitrue if you want to get this 10% bonus. I've personally decided to lend them out because, I bought these tokens when they're roughly around 8 cents. Today they're worth approximately 10 cents. And, I'm a pretty big fan of what Bitrue is doing. So my hope is that in the long run, these tokens appreciate in value. And for the most part, the price has remained pretty stable. It's hovered between 8 and 10 cents. And that 15% that I'm earning is very appealing to me. So instead of getting that 10% on XRP and some of the other alts I own, I've elected to just lend out that Bitrue to get that 15%. And lastly, I wanted to mention that they actually insure up to $1 million worth of USD per customer if anything happens to your tokens. Now, unlike other platforms which custody, like for example, Celsius custodies with BitGo, and BitGo has its own insurance policy on the tokens that they hold, Bitrue, I think, works differently. I just emailed them today to find out the exact details, because this isn't offered by the government. It's not like the 250,000 that's FDIC assured. So I wanted to know how they're able to provide $1 million worth of insurance to all the customers. And when I get that information, I'll make sure to update you guys. All right, I'm going to finish this video off by giving you guys an update on Nexo. I've done a pretty comprehensive review in the past. So if you're interested in a more detailed review, make sure you look at one of my past videos. In fact, I've done 2. For this video, I'll just show you guys how much interest I've been earning on a daily basis. I've been getting about $12, and you can see here that it's compounding. I don't have to do anything. I just basically deposit and they take care of the rest. And you can see here I own about 15,000 Nexo tokens. My cost basis for these tokens was roughly $600 to $700. And you can see here now that's doubled basically, right? And on top of that, the utility that you get with the Nexo token is that it makes you eligible to earn dividends. So they share some of their profits with you, and they pay that profit to US citizens in Bitcoin. So think about that. That's a huge snowball effect. You're getting a token that could go up in price, which is paying a dividend in a token that could also go up in price. But also on top of that, in the future, they're going to enable you to earn interest on the Bitcoin that you hold on the platform. And much like Bitrue and Celsius, I wouldn't be surprised in the near future if you're able to earn interest in Nexo token. So think about all that. You have a token that has price appreciation potential that you're earning interest on. And on top of that, you're getting issued dividend in Bitcoin, which again has a price appreciation potential, but you could also earn interest on as well. Again, I'm not trying to incentivize you guys or entice you guys to make an investment. I'm merely suggesting that, the potential to one day replace your income or part of your income is huge. I mean, even investing small amounts in platforms like this early on could go a long way in achieving financial sovereignty. Now, their rates, for the USD coin, the stable coins, isn't very high. It's 8%, but again, it's compounded and you don't have to do anything. Also, they eat all the fees. Unlike the other platforms which may charge you a withdrawal fee, this platform doesn't charge you a withdrawal fee. And in fact, it even eats the network fee. So when you're sending stablecoin, there's a network fee associated with it. Nexo basically eats that on your behalf. Now, before I talk about my leverage strategy that I'm going to deploy within the next couple weeks, I just wanted to mention that they're going to be adding the PAXG gold token. So basically, it's a digitized form of gold. It represents 1 ounce of gold, which is stored in the vault, Brink's Gold Vault. And essentially what they've done is basically tokenized gold. The gold is, in custody with somebody else, but by owning the PAXG gold token, which is an ERC token, by the way, by holding it, you basically have a receipt on the gold in that vault. And Nexo just announced that they're going to support the token, but also allow you to earn 8% interest on it. So for the first time ever, you can actually earn interest on your gold that you hold. Well, you don't hold the gold, but you own a receipt, but it's effectively like earning interest on your gold. One of Buffett's biggest criticisms of gold was that, even though it has price appreciation potential, you can't get a yield on it. But that's no longer the case with gold, given what Nexo is enabling you to do. By, putting up your crypto as collateral, for example, what I plan to do is basically give up a little bit of Bitcoin collateral. Let's say I give up 2 Bitcoin. If the loan to value ratio is 50% for the loan, 2 Bitcoin will enable me to get a $10,000 loan. Unlike other loans where you have to pay back the principal plus the interest on a monthly basis, with a collateralized loan through Nexo or Blockfi, you basically just pay the interest back monthly. let's say I'm borrowing $12,000 at a rate of 10%. So that's $1,200 worth of interest. In a traditional loan, I'd have to pay back some of the principal plus $100 a month, because I'm taking out, because the interest rate is 10% on a $12,000 loan. Now with a collateralized loan through Nexo or Blockfi, I just pay the interest back. So let's say the interest is $1,200 over the course of a year. I'm paying $100 a month, nothing else. And so the plan is to basically take out a loan, buy crypto with it. This is highly speculative and highly risky if you don't know what you're doing. So I advise some caution. But my plan is to take out that 10,000 and then I buy more crypto with it. Because if you do that, let's say the price of Bitcoin goes from $10,000 to $20,000. The loan that you took out and you bought Bitcoin with, that Bitcoin now is worth $20,000, right? You can sell half of it to give back the principal and get back, and by giving back the principal, you get your collateral back, the 2 Bitcoin that you put up as collateral. So now instead of owning just 2 Bitcoin, you actually own 2.5 now. I mean, if you really want to boil down what I'm doing here, I'm basically using my crypto as collateral to do a leveraged margin trade. And if you decide that you guys want to copy this move here, make sure you guys do your own due diligence and research, because it's very risky and highly speculative to do things like this. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and end the video here. This is CryptoOneStop signing out.